Exploring Raw and Hidden Talents, we say. It's another edition of the Your Time Show, and I am Fatima Jawara. And I'm not alone in the studios. I'll allow my gentleman in-house, Ibrahim Boy.
Yes, so hello, welcome back to another episode of Your Time Show. Every day we come with a different style, of course, but today we come with the most powerful and serious styles. We have a very powerful guest in this house, and of course, let's allow him to introduce himself, and then we hit the ground running.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am Abdullah Jaita, and I am honored to be here.
Great. Abdullah, your name seems very interesting because I've heard you are the dreamer. So do you dream before, right? No.
Well, most of the times, yes.
Okay, but it seems that you're not confident enough to answer my question. But nevertheless, Abdullah, I want to know what your talent is.
Well, I am a poet.
Can you raise your voice when saying that? At least it is a unique talent that when you're saying it, you need to raise
You said it with so much pride.
Yeah.
I am a poet. All right. Yes, Mr. Jada, we know that you are a poet, and of course you are one of those good poets that we have in this country. So I just wanted you to tell us, how did you start your journey as a poet? How does it start and when?
Well, okay, thank you very much. I started, started growing interest in poetry in 2015. Wow. I remember there was this camp, the KMYC camp. Mm-hmm. It was held at the School for the Deaf in Kanifing. Okay. So this guy, who is my mentor now, okay. He came to one of the events and he recited a poem, mm-hmm. right? And I was impressed by how he did it. Mm-hmm. So I liked how without music, mm-hmm. and without instrument, mm-hmm. he was able to make everyone listen, mm-hmm. and almost everyone in the hall appreciated what he was saying with mm-hmm. just words. Mm-hmm. And I was really impressed by this, and I wanted to do what he was doing. Okay. Right? So after the show, I met him and I told him, I like what you did, mm-hmm. and before we meet again, mm-hmm. I would write something and bring it to you so you can vet what actually it is. Mm-hmm. So, you know, before we met again, mm-hmm. I tried writing a piece, mm-hmm. and yes. Yeah, I tried writing a piece, and there's like a story behind writing that piece itself, but I was able to write something and give it to him. He liked it, and from then on, whatever I write, I would take it to him, and he would guide me, try to criticize what I do, and help me grow until where we are now.
Yeah, so if I can understand you very well, you started as a poet because you were inspired by someone, you know, and that person who inspired you were lucky enough to meet the person physically to guide you. Of course, you have a very strong inspiration because there are certain people, they have people that they look up to who inspire them, but yet they do not have the chance to meet them in person for them to guide them. Right. So I believe that is one of the reasons that give you a standout quality when it comes to poetry. So do you have a question for you?
Where he did mention his mentor. So in that, Ibrahim, you're like a mentor. Because I'm a mentor already. I'm going to say name was very unique that you're just mentor.
Yeah, the thing is today we are not talking about me. We are talking about, of course, the boss is here.
But nevertheless, the mentor still remains one. Okay, you have taken us through your inspiration in getting down to poetry. But nevertheless, I want to know what type of poems do you write? We see some people, they are this romance type. Like Carl the poet, moment at daytime romance from all that. But how about you? What do you do?
Basically, I write about almost everything. I've written love poems, I've written pieces that have to do with politics, current issues, especially current issues.
Okay, you did talk about love, and I know almost everybody, or almost all poets talk about love, not so. But you seem so very shy that love was. I was like, okay, moment I'm not love you. But can you hang around on you to love me?
Really? Okay, I can share one of those pieces with you.
Okay.
Okay, but on the condition that I'm not going to tell you anything behind the piece.
No,
Okay.
Whatever you want to say.
Okay, so this was a conversation, and it starts like this. She said that she wanted me to love her back. So I asked, why me? And she said, because only you can get to the depths of my heart as your thoughts run deep. Your words make a fine fibered bedsheet. Now put my worries to sleep. Let your shine wage war against my darkness and shoot stars into my night sky. I love you. Enough to make me want to love myself, she said. I want you to be the mathematics of my life. Evaluate me. You don't need to find my ex, just admire my angles, be my highest common factor, make my heart your most significant figure and equate me. Right on the decimal point. Be the hints to the puzzles of my past.
Look, no, the thing is, this thing is really cajoling me, you know. As he said, no, I'm the lady is the mathematics of our life. Hey, baby, you are the English language of my life. So come on.
Right here, you're saying, hey baby, you're the English language.
In fact, referring to you, yeah, that was inspiring, you know. This is one of the reasons why I will never be wrong if I say you are a very powerful poet. You are one of those poets that so many young poets look up to, you know, and that is so great. Yes, just as I always say, as a poet, we believe that our role in the society is to inspire, is to sensitize, is to touch spirit, is to uplift the soul. And this is actually what you have manifested here. Can you tell us about your works? Like, how many pieces have you written or recorded so far, and so forth?
Okay, so personally for me, I believe poetry is power, right? It gives you the unique opportunity to be able to make a change in your own way, make impact, right? Not just on society, but in different lives, right? So I can't tell you exactly how many pieces I have written, but yes, I can't, because most of the times, sometimes I can write one piece and then adjust it to fit a certain context or a certain activity or event, right? But altogether, no, I can't tell you how many pieces I've written.
Meaning you have written more than you can count, or more than you can
He's a legend, he's a legend in this. He's a legend.
I'm not taking the time to count my pieces, but they are not significantly, you know.
Okay, now we'll welcome you to the second phase of our hangarek discussion. Moine Ibrahim, he is in love, the playwright on love and all that, and he has written more than he can remember, as far as I'm concerned. But nevertheless, you want to 60 pieces.
Yes. Yeah, and the thing is, Fatima, I have this question that is very important, and I think every Gambian poet will want to know about this. What do you think are the major challenges of poets in the country? What are the challenges that poetry face today in this country? If you would be able to identify some of the things that you think is affecting poetry or is giving a lot of setbacks to poetry, what would you have think it is?
Okay, so I think I would talk about the issues in two folds. The first fold is internal, within the poets themselves or within Gambian poetry itself, and externally. Externally, poets are not as respected or as supported as they are supposed to, right? Because sometimes you would go to, or you would be invited to events that they would invite poets and they would invite other musicians and all of that. These are all artists, right? But the respect and the kind of appreciation they would show to the musicians would be different from the kind of appreciation or respect they would show to the poets, right? So that is one issue that we are grappling with in the Gambia. Also, there are events where poets fit, but someone would just call you and say, okay, we have this event and we want to have you to come and perform for us, but there is no pay, or we have not allocated transport refund for you, right? In contrast, when a musician is being invited to an event, all of these things are factored, right? In most cases, you understand? So these are some of the issues that I think poets are grappling with, right? So internally, I think within the poets, one major issue that worries me is plagiarism, right? Because we have seen poets who, if you talk to some of us, like one or two other poets, you would hear a different poet in the way they recite their pieces, or in exactly the words that they use, right? So word for word, they take from other poets without acknowledging that this is from another poet, right? So this is one major issue that, exactly, right? So this is one major issue I think like we need to deal with, because we need to want to learn. Poets in the Gambia, we just want to, sometimes we write badly written speeches, or we just write few words, put music behind it and call it poetry and start recording and all of that. When we need to give poetry what it deserves, right? That is the time, the respect, and also the research. Right? You cannot just get up one time, write something and say, okay, this is good, it fits public consumption, and then you just put it out there.
Yes. Hello Gambia. Watch out. This is Poetry Lecture 101 with Mr. JT. Of course, 101. This is very important, you know.
We're all learning.
And of course, these things are very important. Yes, I just want,
You were being anonymous. But here he comes again, he was like, he thinks.
Yes, the thing is, please,
Okay.
let's congratulate him.
I will-
Do you know that he was the winner of the UN 75 Poetry Challenge?
You know why?
Yeah, he is. So let's congratulate him because he's a legend anyway.
Right, but I'm not congratulating. Let me make this clear, like, hey, if he happens, like, yeah, man, he won it. Nevertheless, maybe he won, I don't know about it. Because when poets win, I believe they should be celebrated for people to get to know that, yes, they won this particular contest. Because then I guess the Gambian artists who win Wasa Halat Award or whatsoever, they then connect published everywhere on almost every social media. But contests the poetry they organize, you hardly see them on social media, people celebrating them. So with that man, Homo won, he was the one who won it. But nevertheless, Mr. Shy Boy, congratulations.
I was not alone. I was not alone.
Okay.
It was a trio. Myself, Jennifer Ture, and Ejalo. Yes.
Okay.
So
Trio.
yes, it was a trio. Yeah.
Okay.
Those great poets.
Okay. Fatima, do you have a question for him or let me ask?
Yeah, full time. You know, poets, basically, they are this confident type. So you know what, they feel free. Anywhere that they are, you will know that, yes, this is a poet. But yo, you came in a different format. You are this shy type. How come?
Well, it's not like I'm a shy type or something.
But your face appears to be one.
Yes.
Right or wrong?
Well, Lolo, it's possible. For me, I don't think going everywhere and trying to be seen has anything to do with poetry. Most of the times when you perform or when you speak, what you say, whatever you say, therefore is something that impacts, right? That makes impact, that people would remember. Wherever you go, you make them know that you were there. Not just by talking too much, but by saying things that people would remember and people would always reflect on and say, he said this thing here, and I think it makes perfect sense, right? You can't just keep being
Yo, but nevertheless, Turo, how did your name come about? You know, people have chosen boy if you talk no more mentor in the game.
Let me come in there. Don't mind this lady. She always want to chastise me. You know, the thing is, we are communicate. We are alerted that the time is about to end. So, what are your final remarks? What do you want to tell Gambian people about poetry? What is going to be your closing remark?
Yeah, before you give a closing remark, you need to tell me how this name came about. I need to know.
Okay, well, I'll give my closing remark then. If time allows us, I'll tell you I'll tell you where the dreamer came from. So, what I would like to say is to everyone who is listening or watching us, poetry in the Gambia is something that we're supposed to cherish. Be it the poets or those who appreciate poetry, or those who don't even know about it. Right? So empower the poets that you see. Help them grow, help them learn. Because there are great impacts that we can make, there are great changes that we can make in the lives of individual people and in the country at large. Because even the UN 75, the competition that you're talking about, if you look at the content that the poets have brought to the table, right, these are issues that not everyone talks about, you don't hear every day. And these are some of the things that poets have brought forth, and they are like tangible things that we can do to achieve great heights, right, as a country. So poetry is power. So let's empower these poets to be able to do most of the things that we are doing, to be able to achieve as a country.
Okay, but nevertheless, Ibrahim Balaniko by Madam the Dreamer, you were a trio in that competition and you happened to win. Why some guy? Some man,
Don't say it.
Nevertheless, he was given a
Don't say it, we are closing.
We was given to two people at the same time. So how come your position? How was it verified that you won?
Okay, so well, competition law, understand. So being the winner, anywhere, even in Poetry Slambisa, I said the same thing. Right? I felt lucky to even have been in the finals. Right? So when you're in a competition, you meet people who they are incredibly powerful as poets, right? So there were people who were left in the semi-finals. There are people we met in the finals. I have met Fatima C. I have met Aliou Jallo. I have met Jennifer Ture, Ejalo. These are phenomenal poets, right? So being crowned winner depends on taste of those who are trying to determine who wins and who loses. Right? So not those who bring forth the content.
So basically, you are the
right?
best
It's not up to us. Exactly. It doesn't make. Look, that is why I said I felt lucky being in the finals because, like, I was with incredible poets in the last 5 of the National Poetry Slam, and in the semi-finals, I met poets I did not even expect that I would get to the finals without them. So
And my man here is a part of the best because it's
mentor, yeah,
usually
of
very,
course,
very rich.
of course.
Nevertheless, we don't get along, but nevertheless, he's a big four. We'll go with the short break, and when we're right back, another guy will step in.
Welcome to the Gambia. This is where we call the land of smiling coast.
Back from that short break, and I still remain Fatima Jawara, and I'm with none other than Mentor Ibrahim Boy.
Yes, welcome to another phase of the show. We have another guest on ground, and then a very interesting one, a writer, a young writer, and a young powerful writer indeed. So we allow him to introduce himself, and then we get to the program. We start discussing. That.
All right. First of all, I would like to thank Fatima Jawara and Mentor Boy for inviting me to this marvelous platform. Well, I am Malik Nyang, a native of Farafenni, and I am a student at the University of the Gambia, studying journalism, and I'm in my final year as well. I am an aspiring prolific writer as well. Yeah, I write so many things. Yeah, but I'm currently residing in a very small village at Serepondang. Yeah, so in short, that is the brief introduction.
Okay, forgetting one thing, Muna Fabulous, but he didn't mention that.
Yes.
So nevertheless, yeah, Dan.
All right. That's my pen name, or you can call it my nickname.
Okay.
The Fabulous. Fabulous.
Okay, Bayang Dom laughing, but nevertheless, what do you think is so fabulous about you that you had to name yourself as Mr. Fabulous?
Yes. I specialize in so many things. In life, you have to specialize in a particular area, but you don't have to be specific. You should have diverse things that you should do. And personally, I write and I do other things. Especially in writing, I write a lot of things, stories, poems, analytical materials, just to name a few. So the name Fabulous better portrays, it depicts the kind of individual I am.
Yeah.
And if I should tell you the meaning in a dictionary, it talks about something extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Okay, I'm also extremely extraordinary.
All right,
Nevertheless,
so-
when you were talking, you were like, yeah. Okay, why that? Is it because why is that?
No, not actually. The thing is, yes, that was very interesting. That was a very good introduction from Fabulous. Of course, he's my dad, and then yes, yes. If you have the chance to read his pieces, you will obviously know that he's fabulous in what he does. But yes, still, I want to know about your journey. How did you start it, or when did you start as a writer? When did you start to find the writer in you?
All right. Thank you so much, Mentor, for that wonderful question as well. Yeah, to say exactly where I started writing may not be in my mind, but I can say it is something that I believe I was born with. Writing is my passion, and it is a flair gift, I can say. But I can tell you that when I started writing, it was I was very, very young as an individual. Going to Dara, that is these local madrasas, where I used to write songs, Arabic songs, Arabic Wolof songs, and words of wisdom or pieces of advice, that I share with my other comrades, my colleagues in the Dara, and they love to read those things, and especially when it comes to singing, they would love to also sing. That's how I started, and it is something that I believe I can do, and I am doing it. I am pursuing it as well. Now, when I also ventured into the English school, especially when I reached to junior school and high school, I also used to write essays, letters, speeches, that I normally give to my English teachers for editing, and they inspired me they help me better edit, better produce good write-ups, which is to ensure that someday I become, the type of person I want to be in relation to writing. But at times, the kind of editing I used to, the kind of feedback I used to receive from them were totally not encouraging at all.
Okay.
But I believe with time, it was something that was fair enough, because I don't expect any person to be pampering me with something that I cannot do.
Yeah.
To be flattering me, say, you are good to go. This is nice. Why it is not nice?
Okay.
But you have to do better.
Yeah.
You should encourage. You should do something. You should adjust. Those are the kind of feedback I used to receive, and I can tell you today, it is helping me a lot, to be honest.
Yeah,
and as a writer as well, it is definitely not easy at all.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That is the challenges that you will be facing. But nevertheless,
Okay, thank you. All right.
man, I've not heard about you. Like, I know almost everybody watching out there will be like, Fatima Muhammad Ken. But I'm being honest.
Okay, all right.
I haven't heard you for like, I never knew who was the Fabulous. Fabulous, existed one? No, I wasn't aware. But nevertheless,
Yes. Well,
from 2 months back, like this write-up called A Friend to the Opposite Sex. So,
Yes, we will come to that. I want us to give that a special attention because it's a very powerful piece that is being followed and read by so many people, and so many people draw a lot of inspiration from that piece.
Sure.
So of course I would have want us to take our ample time in order to brutally go into that write-up, because the caption itself speaks volume.
Okay, Ibrahim.
Yeah, it is very important that you have said these things, that when you send your work, they reply you, but the feedbacks are always negative, My role is criticize me and I grow, If you flat me, then you don't want me to grow. So critics is part of and of course, this raise you from green to grass and gradually from grass to grace. So what I want you to know is, you've mentioned everything about your startup as a writer, but you haven't mentioned what a role model. Like normally every writer will tell you, look, this person is my favorite writer, or this is the person that I follow most as a writer. Because normally it is very clear and well said that the person who reads most writes better. Yeah, I know you read books. Which writer, be it Gambian or non-Gambian, which writer do you think is your favorite writer that you look up to? Or which writer do you try to be like when writing?
Yeah, personally, I put myself in the generation that I, found myself. Yeah, so I look up to so many people. Though I used to follow Nana Gray Johnson, and I currently follow him. And not only he's our dean,
yes,
but as well he possesses something that I believe I can dangle on to make sure I lift or uplift myself in the writing field. So he's one of my role models. But nonetheless, I look up to so many people, especially my comrades. People like you. I don't undermine anybody.
Okay.
Being a good writer does not mean you have to reach a particular age or level. It depends on the power of the pen that you hold and how you clutch that particular pen. What you write, how you write it, and how your message is being disseminated across. Those are the things I always look for. And we have very good young writers in the university. That I normally read their write-ups and get inspired by those write-ups, be it poem, story, or any other kind of writing. So it helps a lot.
Yes.
But I can tell you that I don't have one,
Yeah. You just learn from people.
Yes, I learn from people.
Okay.
Could it be you get inspired by Alifa?
No, Alifa is my friend. We'll come to that.
We'll come to that. Now, that is what we were driving at. Okay. So we are.
I'm inspired by so many people.
Yes,
Like,
I will tell you one thing. Since when I told this girl we were having the Fabulous, she was always like, okay, fine, we have to discuss that piece. What are the reasons? Because probably, we know that there's an agenda behind that piece. There's a reason that motivated. Now, we want to look into that piece. The piece that is titled A Friend to the Opposite Sex. A friend to the opposite sex. You have the female and the male characters there. What inspired that piece, and why the caption? Why the captivating caption, A Friend to the Opposite Sex? What inspired it?
Well, thank you so much, and I would honestly love to talk about that particular story as its own category. Yeah, friend to the opposite sex, in general, explains the diverse, love, like the kind of love that we have in the society, and the inspiration, came from a friend, because most of my friends are females. To be honest, I have close or confidence, close friends, and most of them are females. So I learned a lot from them, and as well they inspire me a lot. So with regards to the story, that is how it started.
Yes.
Being inspired by my own friend,
Yes.
and it is like explaining my own story.
Yes, let me come. Fatima, it has been communicated that it is time. Maybe we can go and come back. Then from there he will continue explaining.
We'll go for a short break and we'll be right back. The show still continues.
Welcome to the Gambia. This is where we call the land of smiling coast.
Welcome back from that short break, and we're right here on Better Future Production. But nevertheless, the fabulous, you're back in house with me, and none other than Ibrahim Aboy. But Ibrahim, before we go into the discussion format about the story in general, I would want to know why that characterization, Bobo. How did you came about?
Okay. There's no fictional character in that play.
Okay.
All the characters are my friends.
Okay, so meaning your Baba Jiko in general.
Okay.
Not the role, not the role we play in the play.
Yeah.
Why come like
You have a friend whose name Baba.
It is a name. I just feel like naming the characters.
Okay. After your friends.
After my friends.
Okay.
Maybe your friends
and
still
all
have
my-
the same
Okay.
attitude.
Okay.
If you have been following my story,
Yes.
there's no story that I write and borrow name from somewhere else. All the names are known by me. But I used to from the Mariam Numukuri Dugali,
Okay.
so that one would not understand.
Okay.
But I can explain, and this is the person, this is she or this is he.
Okay.
Especially Baba.
Okay, Baba
No, Baba, Baba.
Okay.
Okay, so Babu Kojiko
Okay, okay.
No.
Okay.
You would not admit right here, right?
Allow him to explain. Allow him to explain
Let me
this.
tell you.
Okay.
I can tell you, it is a work of fiction.
Okay.
Yeah, but the idea, yes, was real. Yeah, but Numoko follow it and Numoko is, it was fiction. It was fictional. Understand? But the entire idea, or the inspiration that I get from the story, that makes me to write, is something non-fiction.
Okay.
Understand? So that is it. And the characters that I put in the play as well are my friends. Ajifa is not Ajifa. He come from full name is Ajifatu. But we always call her Ajifa.
Ajifao, yeah. Basically, it's a nickname.
Yes. Understand? And Baba as well for Baba.
Okay.
Rose.
Okay, now.
It was fictional.
Yeah.
It was like you had experience it.
Yeah, the thing is,
I know the society I am living.
Yes.
And I do hear a lot of stories from people. So those are the things I gather.
So you have
Yeah.
experience in that.
That is no.
that the thing is,
I will not tell you that.
see.
No, wait. I will not tell you I don't have experience
Lovely.
in the story.
Yeah.
But not how the story was explained.
you were not trying to portray your own experience.
Yeah.
Because the nature of the work is that sometimes you read it as a person, you even feel guilty that look, this person is talking to me direct. There was a particular area where you read, you realize, wow, is this boy? Because if you look at the story, there are things that must have been done by you or must have been done by someone. Sometimes you read it, you see yourself in this.
Let me
I just-
because he at some point will feel that
yes,
he went
let me tell you, I received more than 10 direct messages, from people, male and females. who all admit that the story is talking to them. And right now my name's been small yeah, someone was confessing that this story explains
hits me hard.
My life, as someone who used to love a particular person, but
Yeah.
and he was trying to explain his own story. You understand? And I was like, wow.
Lord is positive because if you're a writer and you have such feedback, Lord is very, very interested.
And I listened a lot of them.
Yes.
Come story, when we started, it was real.
Okay.
But in the middle of the story and in the end, it was fictional.
It was fiction.
But when we started,
It was non-fiction. Okay.
Yeah, especially when I started saying the two friends at high school, one trying to know each Baba trying to mock, to agitate, how to call it, Bruce, and suddenly Bruce embarrassed because and suddenly he felt guilty and apologized. No, it was not me. It was my friend. No, I was not troublesome at all. I was never. I was never. Yes.
Yes. In this case, I want to stand firm in trying to know actually what is the motivation behind that piece. But actually, he's my dad too. I cannot go beyond the red line,
No, you can't.
Yes, and the thing is, yes, that I realized that there's not only one episode of the story, and the episodes are always too long. How many episodes of the story do you have?
29.
29 episodes, and all the episodes are long. Now, I want you to tell me this. Like, poetry is not that long sometimes, let's say for example. But writing needs a different version of energy. When writing, you need to extend the tentacles of your energy. You need to write, vastly, right? So, how do you plan this, right? Do you just jump and start writing, or you write, you come write a part, tomorrow you continue? What happens? Do you normally sit and write the whole episode at once?
Let me tell you one thing. When you want to be a writer, you must have training in the area that you want to specialize. When you want to specialize on writing poems, like being a poet, you have to do your own research on the latest methods, the latest mechanisms, as to how to become a good poet. When you want to specialize on writing stories, you also have to do your own research, the latest versions, the latest things that you need to know about writing stories. That will guide you and that will help you. You have to also, engage in so many trainings pertaining to writing. And I have gone through, so many trainings, especially film trainings, documentary writing, fictional writing. I have done a lot of trainings, and I said professional trainings as well. So I know the game, and I know how to get people's attention. I know how to start. But to answer your question in brief, it is not something that I just sit and write. You see a lot of stories, where people say, this story doesn't have an appetite, or I don't feel like reading this story, because the person writing the story does not take his or her own time to write, does not evaluate, does not involve himself or herself in any examination before establishing that particular writer. So in the end, people will not have interest in following that story. You have to spend time to cook the story properly, so that when you you go so I spend time, I can say months, before I finish the friend to the opposite sex.
Yes, that I have this question, and it's very interesting. The thing is, 29 episodes, and these episodes are too long. My belief is, personally, you have a target in the future, because you don't just write it like, I think you are trying to archive them elsewhere. Where do you want to see yourself as in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I want to be a Gambian Shakespeare, to be honest, and I used to say it.
The Gambian Shakespeare.
I want to be well known.
Yeah, of course.
In the field of writing.
Okay. Yeah, that is powerful. Okay.
I think we already got one Shakespeare called K-Bamba. So how come you're not going to make a Shakespeare?
No, I don't mean like being a Shakespeare himself, like to be called Shakespeare. But Shakespeare is well known when it comes to writing.
Okay.
If you say Shakespeare, even if you go to the dictionary and type Shakespeare, internet, the dictionary, Shakespeare, like bindakat mag yu mel noonu.
Okay.
Understand? So noonu laa bëgg a mel, comme like it is something dañ ko defaale ak moom.
Right. Yeah.
And he is known in the art of writing.
He's the master.
So man tam loolu laa bëgg nekkul ne comme I should be called Shakespeare or
Okay.
Yes.
like that.
And that is like
That-
Sum aga.
Okay.
Smooth muntu aga tamit at least.
Okay. Before we conclude, I want you to give us your remarks before closing the show and finally take us through the challenges that you have faced as a writer in the country and your life as a whole.
Yeah, thank you so much. But I believe my challenge as a writer is a general challenge that most young writers in the Gambia are faced with, and it is fundamentally, finance. We have so many write-ups in our repository, but you don't have that forum where you can explore better your writings, for the fact that you lack the finance, that can push you ahead. I first finished my first book, that is Animals as Wisdom, when I was newly enrolled at the University of the Gambia. That was the first book I wrote, but still it is in my documents. At times I do publish my write-ups on my blog, but it is not enough. I have POC, a tragic, drama as well. I have A Friend to the Opposite Sex. I have Haley's Road, Had I Known, which portrays a standard literature, and depicts the tradition and culture of West Africa, especially the Gambia. But it is still in my own repository, being kept there without being published, to have that marketable environment, So it will be very important if we have support, financial support from either the government, NGOs, or any philanthropists rather, so that we can better pursue our talents as young writers, So that is the important aspect of it. And I also, urge my fellow young writers, especially poets, let them know that we are all in the art of writing, and we should try by all means to register under a particular umbrella, a particular organization. We have, how to call it, Writers Association of the Gambia, that is WAC. We also, su fekkee ne sax yow da nga am sa own particular kingdom wala sa own particular writing domain, you can register with the National Center for Arts and Culture, that is NCAC in Banjul, so that you can get support from them, because they normally give support to young writers, because it is in the art field. Government bi tamit ñu jappalé ñu, understand, let them invest in the arts and culture, in work and other organizations in relation to writing, so that ñom ñu mëna register more young writers to better help them, ñu mëna publish an article section at least ñu mën ci am dara, because it is not easy to be writing always without getting any penny out of it. So at times that it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right, that's it. That was a beautiful conclusion and a very good elaboration from our ablest guest today. We had fabulous. Yes, and I think this brings us to the end of the program, and more especially to the end of the first season of Your Time Show. This is the last episode of the first season, and trust me, we are coming with the second season in a different fashion. And this time around, we will choose fashion as our compassion. We come with different swagger, different stage, different style of doing things. Anyway, let me allow my host to extend the tentacles of that discussion more.
Wow, that was beautiful and indeed fact. This is the end of the first season for the Your Time Show, and a big thanks to La Parisienne at Bigelow for granting us the place to conduct the shows. So we are very thankful to them, and a big thanks to my able annoying co-host, Mr. Ibrahim Aboy, and of course all the guests that had to waste their energy and resources to come do the show with us.
Not only that, how about our cameraman, Mr. Keba?
And semua camera person with KBJ,
Toma Ibrahim.
baby, and the list goes on. I'm so grateful. Without you people, this show wouldn't have been lively and wouldn't have been out there for people to talk about it. To become your way next season loading. Bye.